In this week's video, hopefully something for everybody: landscape, architecture, portrait, street photography, as well as night photography, because I've just returned from 4 weeks in London and I have a heap of images that I want to share with you in this video, along with the camera settings, tips and more. Welcome to the Photo Genius channel. Hi, I'm Paul from Photo Genius. Welcome to my channel where I share photography tips, tricks, camera settings and a lot more. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. So we left Brisbane for the UK at the end of November to spend Christmas with family, catch up with friends and explore London. I also ran a couple of workshops and found some time for some one-to-one tuition as well. Now we were staying in Vauxhall, which if you don't know is southwest London, the perfect location, a 5-minute walk to the Underground or a walk along the Thames for amazing views of the city, Westminster, the Houses of Parliament and of course Big Ben. Now for a big trip like this, it's always hard to decide what gear to take, so in my bag I packed a Nikon Z6, Fujifilm X-H2S, the Fujifilm X100V, and for recording video I also picked up the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 just prior to leaving Australia. I also packed some Nissi filters, a Manfrotto tripod, and that was about it. So let's get into it. Now the first image I want to show you is this one. I think I took this at the end of our second day in London. Now it was raining and for this shot I was sheltering in a doorway trying to stay dry, and this image was taken handheld. I couldn't quite get the composition I wanted and stay dry, but it's still an okay image. I particularly like shooting when the streets are wet and I love the motion blur of the people walking down the stairs. If you look, there's also two iconic London buses on the bridge, although neither are the traditional red colour. You can also see the Houses of Parliament in the background, as well of course Big Ben. Now note how the clock face is completely overexposed. This can be a common problem because the clock face, just like the street lamps on the bridge, are much brighter than the rest of the scene. It is something that is fixable, and to explain how, let's take a look at another image. Now this second shot I was very happy with, and if we zoom in, this time you can see detail on the clock face. Now this is because this image was shot on a tripod and is actually consisted and made up of two separate images. One image is exposed for the general scene and a second image is exposed just for the clock face and the lights on the bridge. Then what you do is you lay one image on top of the other using software like Photoshop and use the delete tool to reveal the layer below. Now let me know in the comments below if you like the image and if you would like to see a more detailed tutorial on this channel soon. Now walking along the Thames embankment there's always plenty to see, including the London Eye and views of St Paul's Cathedral. Here a 4-second exposure using the tree to help frame the subject. I really love the row of lampposts to the right of the frame as well. And here a classic and much photographed view of St Paul's Cathedral from the Millennium Bridge. Now the bridge helps to frame the shot and also lead the eye to the dome of the cathedral. And because there's a constant stream of people crossing the bridge, I used a 6-second exposure to create motion blur. Now here's another shot. This time I edited out the cranes using Photoshop. This next image I want to show you is actually a panorama made up of 6 individual images stitched together. The final image is absolutely huge and the detail is incredible. Now I didn't shoot exclusively at night, this was taken at sunset. I really would have liked some more colour in the sky or maybe some clouds to add some interest, but as a silhouette image of an iconic London building, I think it still works. Now this image I really like, the sun illuminating the Houses of Parliament against the grey clouds and also showing the detail in the Victorian lamppost in the foreground. Now light can change very quickly and make or break an image. Take a look at this shot. With the sun behind the clouds, the image looks really flat. But what about this image? Taken just a few seconds later, here the sunlight completely changing the look and feel of the image. Now, two more images of Westminster to show you before we move on, both long exposures. This one using a shutter speed of 13 seconds, and for this image a shutter speed of 15 seconds, capturing the light trails from the buses, taxis and cycles as they pass by. Next, I want to share with you some images of Battersea Power Station. This was a 20-minute walk from where we were staying, and if you're a music fan then you may well recognise it from the cover of the Pink Floyd album Animals. Now, completed in 1955, Battersea Power Station supplied electricity to London up until 1975 when it was closed. The site did become derelict, but I'm pleased to say it has now been completely transformed. Now, this image I took on the 15th of December 2006. I can remember vividly driving along the Thames, parking my car and rushing to set up and grab the shot with my Nikon D70. Exactly 17 years to the day, I was back and hoping to capture another image as the sun rose over London. But sadly on this occasion it wasn't to be, with only low grey clouds sitting above the four great chimneys. So sometimes things just don't go to plan, but I'm still happy with the images I got, and if you ever visit London, set aside some time to visit the Battersea Power Station and make a visit, as it is a great space and the architecture is amazing. Plus, just a short walk from the power station is the Chelsea Bridge. This was opened in 1858 and was originally called the Victoria Bridge. At night it looks amazing, illuminated by thousands of lights. Now, compared to Brisbane where I live and work, it was considerably colder in London, and as expected we did also have a few wet days. Not that that stopped me taking photos. Take a look at this set of images of street vendors. Shooting from a low vantage point can really make a difference to an image and is a great technique that I often use a lot, particularly when there's an opportunity for a reflection shot on a wet day. Now, I did a lot of walking whilst in London. As a photographer, it is hands down the best way to explore a city, and I often found myself taking images that I would never have thought to capture when I lived in London. I felt like a tourist in my own hometown, and I was absolutely loving it. As much as I enjoyed walking the streets of London for convenience and speed, the London Underground is still the best way to navigate the city quickly, and one of my favourite destinations was the West End, and in particular the streets of Soho. Now, I have a real soft spot for Soho. I spent many years working there. It's often described as the beating heart of the city. Soho is a place that never sleeps. It's a great place to people watch, and of course a great place for street photography. Now, this image is one of my favourites, and to understand why I love this image so much, let me give it some context. Now, the memorial wall is on the banks of the Thames, directly opposite the Houses of Parliament, and commemorates and recognises the huge loss of life to COVID-19, with every hand-painted heart representing a person who sadly died in the UK. Now, I walked past this wall many times during my stay and took a few images, this one being my favourite. There's something poignant about the girl walking in the sunshine, listening to music and enjoying life, set against a background composed of thousands of hand-painted hearts, and the faceless shadows I feel in some way represent those who we lost. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, one type of photography that I absolutely love is portraiture. There are so many characters on the streets of London, you really are spoiled for subjects. Yet, aside from a couple of images, I actually hardly took any. But I would like to share this image of Martin, a young guy who I got talking to when I recognised that his makeup was in the style of the late New York graffiti artist Keith Haring. Martin was on his way to a party, the theme being dress as your favourite artist, and I thought he looked absolutely awesome. He happily agreed to a photo, as did this young lady who I also got talking to just off Carnaby Street in Soho. She was on a cigarette break and we enjoyed a brief chat, and again she was very happy for me to take a picture. I also want to share this image of David, a Vauxhall resident who was conducting a gathering of locals just a couple of doors down from where we were staying. We had no idea the carol singing event was happening, and apparently it's been a local tradition for a number of years. I had so much fun and must give a special mention to Ruth, who kept my mulled wine well and truly topped up. Now, all of these images were shot handheld due to the low light. I had to push the ISO really high in camera, so I've used Adobe Denoise to reduce the digital noise in the images. Here, so you can see, is a before and after. Now, before I wrap up, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who attended my London photography courses and to everyone I met on my travels. I had such a great time and I can't wait to come back again, hopefully sometime soon. So I really hope you've enjoyed a look through my images, and if you did, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. Also, if you want to see more from me, please consider subscribing. I'll be back again next week with a normal photography tutorial. Okay, that's about it, other than to say thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you again sometime soon. See ya. Bye.